Hello everyone. Let us solve today's daily leetcode problem together. Problem 3010. It says divide an array into subarray with minimum cost. We are given an array of nums, which is with length n. The cost of the array is the value of the first element. We will consider the first element as the cost of the array. For example, given this array, the cost will be the first element, which is equals to 1, and from this array the cost will be the first element, which is 3. So it says you need to divide the numbers into 3 disjoint contiguous subarray. We are given an array nums, and we need to divide the array into 3 parties, into 3 contiguous subarray, then finding the sum of these 3 subarray together. That means the summation of each subarray's cost. So let us take the first example and make the problem more clear. Let us say we have the array with element 1, 2, 3, and 12. So the question is asking us that we need to divide this array into 3 partitions, 3 contiguous partitions, then finding the sum of the cost of each partitions. For example, let me divide this subarray into 3 partitions. Okay, at this point and at this point, so we get 3 partitions, the first and the second, the third partition. So the cost of this partition will be summation of the cost of each individual partition. In this case, 1 plus 3 plus 12, which means 16. So if I divide this array in this partition, the total cost will be 16. So the question is asking me to minimize this cost. Return the minimum possible value, the minimum possible sum of this subarray's cost, it says. So what I have to do is I have to partition this subarray in such a way that the cost would be minimized. So using this partition, I have about 16 cost. Can I make this partition more optimal so that I can minimize the cost? Let us try another partition. Okay, what if I partition the array like this? If I partition the array like this partition would be this one, this one. So the cost would be 1 plus 2 plus 3, which is equals to 6. It is less than 16. So I found the more optimal way, or the minimized cost of partitions. So I can partition the array in this manner, and the minimum cost would be 6. So this would be we need to return this minimum cost, which is 6. So how we can approach this problem? Okay, let us think of it like this. We are given this array. In order to get 3 partitions, we need to have 2 slicing points. So if we can find 2 slicing points, that means we can get the array with 3 partitions. For example, to get 3 partitions, I can divide this array in these 2 points, or I can make this partition, or I can make this and this. So repetitively holding one partition point is, I can iterate through the array and make the partition just by using 2 for loop. So this approach can solve the problem with a given like constraints, because the number of nums given us is about, we can have any length of array 3 to 15. So if you can solve the problem in any square solution, it can pass the test case. So how can we find 3 elements that are minimum and minimize our costs, so that we can take our partition point to that elements so that we can minimize the cost of our partitions. In this example, the minimum element is 1, 2, and 3, right? So is there any way that can I easily find these minimum elements and make my partition at those points? Okay, what we can do is, like in this problem, always the first element will be counted into our cost, because when we take the partition, always the first element is the cost of the first partition of that array, right? So what I can do to optimize or to minimize my cost is just selecting the first element of 2 partition to the right. I have to minimize that first element of the 2 partition. In this case, I need to minimize the cost of 2 partition which is right to the first partition. For sure, it is known that for the first partition, the first element will be the cost. So to minimize our total cost, our overall cost, what we have to do is just we need to select the partition with minimum elements. So we need to find 2 minimum elements except the first element. That means to this portion of the array, we need to select 2 minimum elements, and we can make our partition 0 so that our cost will be minimized. So from this example, to this part, I can make this element, since it is minimum, to the cost of 1 partition, and the second small element to the small element I can make the cost of the second partition. So I can make my partition here, and so that this and this would be included to my cost. This is for mandatory. It is going to be included into my cost, since it is the cost of the first partition. Okay, so saying that, how we can find these these 2 smallest elements? Okay, how we can find these 2 smallest elements? Can you think of something? Maybe do you think if we sort the elements, if we sort these parts of an element, if we sort these parts of the array, for sure we can get the 2 smallest elements to the left of the that partitions, because if we sort this part, the 2 smallest element will be, the first smallest element is will be sit here, and the second smallest element will be here. So taking that 2 small elements, I can make my partition to here these elements were present in our original. Let me write down the approach, the pseudo code of the solutions to you. So first of all, we are sure that the first element is within our array, right? So first element is equals to nums of the first element. We need to keep this one, and we need to sort the elements of the array starting from index 1 to the last one. So First, let me remove the element I am. The first element is, since I have already folded them. So now this is equals to of removing index 1 up until end. Then I can sort this nums. Nums is equals to, okay, nums dot sort. Then what I can do is I can calculate my costs of these 3 partitions and return the value. So the cost will be, cost is equals to first element, first plus, then from the sorted array we can take the first 2 elements because they will be the cost of our 2 other partitions. So nums of 0 plus nums of 1. So I can return this cost. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now let me walk through the Python code and show the solution. So we are given nums and we take the first element of the nums, since it will be the cost of the first partition. So I am keeping that on this first variable. Then I need to remove the first element in order to sort the other, in order to sort the array and get the cost of the 2 other partitions. So I popped out the first element. Then I sort. We need to sort the numbers. After that, taking the first, then adding it with the 2 minimum elements from the sorted array. So I hope this is clear. Thank you for watching. Consider to like the video, and since my channel is new, please subscribe the channel.